This video is sponsored by G Fuel. Go to them for any of your energy drink needs.
Yep. What is up, everyone? We are back. Sierra's here as well. She didn't cut out this time, so that's
I'm
good.
actually back.
She's actually back. But yeah, we're back for a top four, which is like super exciting. I mean, we're gonna see another Kyogre team again. We're gonna actually be watching Victor versus Jesus. So it's gonna be really interesting to see how they match up versus each other. Really interesting thing about Victor's team this time around is actually rocking a Shedinja. So that's going to be really cool to see.
See, I'm really excited about all these options that people are bringing in as like the fifth or sixth slot on their team and being able to see what they do, especially in a no Dynamax format where a couple of the more oddball picks definitely have the opportunity to shine. But let's pull up the first player profile to see who is going to be featured this match and exactly what they are bringing.
Yeah, so we are going to be seeing Victor over here rocking the Tornogre combo with Serena. So pretty much being able to block any fake outs coming that way. I mean, at this point, you're pretty much able to completely guarantee a Tailwind at least. The one interesting thing here is that the Tornadus actually is carrying a Life Orb, so we'll be doing a little bit more damage with its Hurricanes in the matchup, which is pretty cool. We are going to see Shedinja obviously rocking the Tried and True Ally switch. So that's going to add an extra layer of difficulty to the matchup. The next thing that could also be an issue as well is the Regieleki and the Incineroar potentially allowing for a bit more support and also preventing a bit of kind of precarious situations where you're not able to get the Kyogre in safely. Incineroar obviously allowing that. And then looking over at Jesus' team, Jesus is going to be using Palkia, Urshifu, Incineroar, Amoonguss, Regieleki, and Landorus. The Landorus being a Life Orb Landorus set with Earth Power, Sludge Bomb. It is using Substitute. So that is a really cool option that's not typically seen on these teams. So that's actually really interesting here. And then we're going to see the Incineroar and the Amoonguss, same as we had seen on the broadcast previously. Also kind of doing the same thing. And we're going to be seeing Dark Urshifu, actually. So one interesting thing I saw in this tournament, or that I've been seeing throughout this tournament, is the amount of Dark Urshifus, because typically you expect it to be mostly Water Urshifu in this format, but we really are seeing kind of a resurgence of Dark Urshifu here.
Yeah, it's really cool that both Urshifus are having a moment to shine in this. I mean, the Rapid Strike has been included into a lot of teams, so seeing the teams that feature the Fighting Dark version as well, the Single Strike, is always fantastic, and I'm super to see that Landorus. I mean, Landorus has been a staple, but normally the other, so seeing this one with the sheer feet.
Yeah, I mean, now going into team preview here, we are going to see both of them selecting. We're going to see the two genies at the top facing each other off. Well, actually, Tornadus has his back to Landorus. They just had a fight before the team preview went up. But we are going to see, obviously, going back to Jesus' team, we're going to see Landorus, Regieleki, Palkia, Amoonguss, Urshifu, and Incineroar. And then we're going to be seeing Tornadus, Shedinja, Kyogre, Incineroar, Serena, and Regieleki on Victor's side. I kind of am hoping we see the Shed appear, but I'm not sure we will. The nice thing about this matchup, too, is that you actually do get a lot of flexibility in terms of the Palkia. I mean, the Palkia obviously able to go for Thunder here, really pressure the opposing Kyogre as well, putting on a ton of pressure. Like, Palkia does have a typically good matchup into Kyogre, but I feel like there are enough tools on Victor's team where it can actually put on a bit of pressure.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how they are navigated. And I am excited that we do get to see Kyogre again. Obviously, very strong with how it can be played, and being able to see how this has to be adjusting to it is going to be fantastic in this match. But that being said, it's time to get into it.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing here is that we really do get to see an interesting matchup. I mean, typically these Kyogre teams really run undisputed. But seeing Palkia here so far in your run, I think it's actually something you'd probably like to see. I mean, from the Palkia player, you'd probably like to see an opposing Kyogre team because Palkia matches up so well to them. So potentially making the tournament-winning call by bringing Palkia to this tournament
is
But yeah, we are going to see potentially the Tornadus going for a Hurricane here, or maybe going for a Tailwind. Either of those are both pretty good options. The Serena obviously also putting on a bit of pressure in terms of its offensive coverage, really being able to deal some serious damage here onto the Palkia. Both of the Mons combined can actually do a lot in front of Amoonguss and Palkia. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that's dealt with. Another interesting thing here too that can really make a difference is, we're actually going to see the Hurricane Miss here as well, is pretty much whether or not you land your moves. But we are going to see Hurricane Miss, we are going to see Power Whip land though, doing around over half actually to the Palkia. I think we just saw a lot of misses here, honestly. Sorry, the screen kind of cut out for a second on my end, but I'm pretty sure that there was actually a couple misses there. But we are probably going to see the Power Whip go into the Palkia again, trying to get around the Amoonguss here, really trying to put on pressure. Another thing too that can also make a big difference here is potentially going for Spores later in the game. This Amoonguss is Mental Herb, which is going to allow it to put on a bit of pressure. So kind of interested to see what is going to happen here. I mean, there is also a lot that this Torn can do after it gets a Tailwind, which is potentially getting another Mon that can do a bunch of damage. Pretty much being able to spam Water Spout here in front of his team because the Palkia is chipped down also is a bit more viable. So it's going to be really interesting to see. We are going to see the Hurricane go straight into the Amoonguss. I believe knock it out. Yes, we are going to see the Amoonguss get knocked out here. So that's a really big tool on Jesus's end, playing a serious role to really stop this, just stop the Kyogre offense. Flamethrower comes into Serena, does about half. Serena hasn't attacked yet, so we are going to see the Power Whip come in. Is this going to be a second KO in a row? The second KO, oh my god. Yeah, I mean, at this point, too, you just lost 2 Mons. This is a terrible position, especially versus the Kyogre that is most likely in the back. So very surprised to see Jesus let the Palkia and the Amoonguss go down there, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see maybe how he comes back. I mean, you're probably going to get 2 KOs here, but at what cost? I think it's just a very bad situation. At this point, you have the Electro Web and Wicked Blow pressure, which has something maybe, but at that point too, the Tailwind's up, the Kyogre's in the back. Kyogre just goes for Water Spout. The game's pretty much over. The Urshifu maybe has a couple of options, maybe going for something like a Sucker Punch, but at this point, it's going to be very difficult to stop. So at this point, we're going to have to see. We are just going to see the Tailwind come out here, obviously allowing the Tornadus to go for that speed control, pretty much putting itself in a position where it's just ready to get knocked out, allowing the Kyogre to come in. We're actually going to see a Tornadus live here, taking the Electro Web. We are going to probably see an Urshifu Wicked Blow here, but into what target is the bigger question, because if it goes into Tornadus, I mean, the Serena's still not bad here. Okay, we're going to see it go into Serena here. So Tornadus does get one more turn on the field. Most likely not going to be lasting past the next turn, but Kyogre is going to get a free swap in here, which is actually going to be very, very helpful. So now Regieleki coming in, also putting in a bunch of pressure. You could honestly probably spam Electro Web here, plus Hurricane, and just force his Zeus to Sucker Punch. So.
All right. Apologies. But there is obviously some internet things, but I am back and ready to be catching up. And it looks like Victor's been pretty confident with taking those 2 KOs. So I'm excited to see what I've missed and to get back in here. So just give me half a second to be catching up.
Yeah, I think honestly I've done more talking than Water Spout has done damage in this match so far. So we're definitely going to be seeing a double protect here from the Regieleki and the Urshifu, potentially trying to solve out turns of Tailwind. Makes sense. You're trying to put yourself in a good position to deal with the Kyogre. We do know that the Kyogre is Wave Incense, if I am not mistaken, or Mystic Water rather. So the Alecki does have the potential to outspeed as long as you don't give the Kyogre a free swap in here. So this endgame might end up being a little bit closer than we thought. The Electrode not KOing the Tornadus actually worse for Victor here. He really wants that Tornadus gone. What could be really interesting here too is after the Regieleki gets an Electro Web up, is if the Kyogre is fast enough and the Alecki slow enough, is that the Kyogre can actually outspeed.
It's definitely a little tricky navigating it here, so be interesting to see how it plays out. I'm still catching up. I do apologize for that. Obviously, it missed out on a lot of key moments in this, but 2 Regielekis on the field. I'm very excited at least about that dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing here too is that you actually do get pressure with this Urshifu now. I mean, we are going to see the Tornadus get removed here, which is very helpful for Jesus, but the Electro Web's going to be a really big deal here. I mean, doing a good chunk of damage. I mean, doing over half to the Urshifu, that's so much. And then also getting the Electro Web drop on the opposing Regieleki is also going to be very difficult. But we are going to see the Regieleki retaliate with its own Electro Web back into the Regieleki, doing more damage than the first Regieleki move.
A single target as well as that critical hit. So definitely doing what it can for damage, but that Tornadus being taken out means that Kyogre can join the field here, though it's definitely scary in face of the Regieleki on either side.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing here too is that you actually get solid pressure with Water Spout. The main thing that you have to be careful of is just, what if there's a double up? You know, the Regieleki attacks and the Urshifu goes for a Sucker Punch to the Kyogre, potentially putting it in range of being removed. The nice thing is that the Regieleki on Victor's end does outspeed the opposing Eleki, but we are going to see a double protect here, trying to stall out that last turn of Tailwind just to put themselves in like a good position. So we're going to really have to see how this pans out. It's really going to actually come down to the Eleki speed tiers as well, because potentially if there's an Electro Web coming out first from Jesus' end, short cut here. Hello, everyone. We're back.
Huh.
We were gone, but we're back. We were talking
I'm
to
not the
ourselves
only
for like a
one
solid
with the
minute.
internet issues today.
Yeah, I know. We're back. But yeah. So pretty much, I mean, the main thing there. Unfortunately, we won't get to see how the end game pans out. Obviously, we'll probably find out what happens at the end. But the main thing there was honestly just the Water Spout really being able to put on pressure there. And we are going to be back in the game. We are going to see the Urshifu actually get KO'd and the Regieleki get KO'd. So like we expected, the Kyogre actually kind of did a lot of work there. So
Yep. See, that was just like last game. This end game was too powerful, and as much as we weren't able to witness it, looks like Kyogre was able to come through and pick up that first match to bring this good into. So I'm excited to see what adjustments. I'm excited to catch the first half of the match this time around as well. But if there could be adjustments made to finally take Kyogre down.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see too the adjustments coming from Victor, maybe even trying to put himself in a bit of a better position where maybe he's not stuck like that. The other nice thing too is that Jesus could actually probably adjust here too. Maybe not allowing the Amoonguss to go down so quickly like last time. I mean, Amoonguss just went down in like 2 turns, I think, that previous game. It actually went down just in 1 turn. It just got hurricaned by Tornadus, so it was just gone. So I'm kind of interested to see if maybe the Amoonguss is going to be kept in the back this time.
Well, yeah, especially with that life orb on Tornadus, like that hurricane is going to be doing damage. We saw previously how much damage it was doing in a non-life orb route, so definitely a scary situation for them. So it'll be interesting to see how it's played around this time, or if it comes this time around.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing here too is gonna kind of be seeing like what exactly they're gonna do to kind of try and beat each other, right? Because this matchup is a bit interesting, where you would assume that Palkia has the advantage. So it's kind of interesting to see Victor kind of just cleanly winning the game, really just being able to remove that Palkia quickly and winning. I mean, you'd expect Palkia to be like the premier mon in this matchup, and I felt like it went down like it was a second thought, you know? So.
Yeah, losing a restricted like that is definitely a difficult situation. These Pokemon are so dominant, and losing one right off the bat, not really being able to get anything out of them, definitely not a fantastic situation. But we are getting into the second round of this top 4 match. And to start, that Palkia we were just talking about paired up with the Regieleki, and it is going to be staring down this Tornadus and this is Serena.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing here is the adjustment to Regieleki. I mean, Regieleki putting on a bit more pressure, but we're going to see the shed actually in the back. I'm so excited to see this. I actually hadn't noticed that being selected. That is so cool, because shed adds a whole extra layer to this matchup, because now you have a pivot into so many moves where the Regieleki and the Palkia can't do much. So I'm really excited to see that. But we are going to see potentially a power up go into the Palkia to try and weaken it down. But I think we are going to see the shed come into play, which is super cool.
I'm excited too to see what this Kyogre team is going to do with no Kyogre. Yeah, this Tornado is taking the opportunity to swap out that little Shedinja, hitting the field, but
Oh.
of course, the Wonder Guard, so nothing going to be happening there. And the guard does come out from the Palkia into the tree slot, taking up about half of the HP here. But it gets to fire back the Power Whip, picking up even more damage.
Yeah, so for those of you who didn't take Spanish in high school, pretty much what happened there, Volt Switch went into the opposing Shedinja. That prevented a swap, and then a Power Whip obviously going into the Palkia. I believe Palkia too, we've seen it basically take over half consistently, so almost thinking that maybe it's just a frail Palkia, not really intended to take much damage, which is kind of surprising because if I remember correctly, I believe its item is Assault Vest, so it's actually really shocking to see it take so much damage.
Mm-hmm. But not wanting to risk any more damage, it is going to be switching out Amoonguss, hitting the field, and this Ninja just going for that light switch right off at the bat and repower up into the Amoonguss slot. Amoonguss is going to take that super well here. I mean, I'll win it, but it does mean that the Palkia is still safe in the back for another turn.
I mean, did you see though how much damage? I know it doesn't seem like much, but that's also a lot of power up damage into an Amoonguss. Like, at this point, I'd actually kind of be inclined to believe that this arena might even be adamant, just like with this damage that it's doing to the Palkia, damage that it's doing to the Amoonguss, even with Power Whip. We're gonna see Ally Switch clicked again, potentially trying to block a Volt Switch coming out. Oh no, we're gonna see the Volt Switch go back into the Shedinja and the Serena being able to get a free attack off again. Or
yeah.
the Serena getting free attack off.
All of the mind games coming out here. Does he press Ally Switch? Does he not? But it paid off this turn. Tishkin stays safe, being able to then take down the Reggie Alecki in a huge hit there. That is humongous, and forcing the Palkia out back onto the field.
I just think it's so funny that we got to see the Shedinja just click Ally Switch and doing Shedinja things as usual. Power Whip, it's putting on a lot of pressure here. I'm not really sure there's much that Jesus can do to stop this. I mean, Amoonguss is just too passive versus maybe just being able to go for like a Spore, but at that point, how do you touch a Shedinja? Like, you need a Flamethrower on the Shedinja, or it's just going to endgame you and you're going to lose to it unless you have Urshifu.
It's definitely a super dangerous situation, and are going to see is going to go for Shadow Sneak. Wanted to join in on a little bit of the fun and get a little bit more damage. Flamethrower coming out, but it will be on to Serena here, bringing it right down, but unable to be taking up that KO. And Arv is going to connect, taking down that Palkia. And like this Mugus is
read the Ally Switch too.
Yeah. Unfortunately, not going to do much this turn. So Ally Switch mind games proving to just take it once again.
Oh man, I mean, Shedinja, it's one of the famous old restricted Pokemon. I mean, typically paired with Soak, but actually really cool on this team. I mean, really just clicking Ally Switch and consistently annoying the opponent here, just unable to get a single move off. I mean, at first I thought it was a little bit questionable not seeing the Kyogre in this matchup, but the Serena and Shedinja just putting in so much work here. And there's still Tornadus in the back, which beats both Urshifu and Amoonguss. So this is looking pretty grim for Jesus here.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to worry about dealing a bunch of damage with Kyogre if you just don't ever take damage in return with the Shedinja, which is exactly what we've been seeing. It's just proven to sit on the field and not do anything. Urshifu starting it all off with a Protect here. Ninja going for the Forsaken, but unable to connect there. Double targeting into that slot, so Victor not being able to do too much this turn, but finally, the Shedinja is going to be at least put to sleep.
Yeah, I mean, Shedinja goes to bed, but I think it deserves its rest. I mean, it really just did so much. Now, the one thing you do get out of sporing the Shedinja is now there's kind of a dead slot on the other side, but I think where Jesus is really going to encounter the problems is the actual targeting with the Urshifu and the Amoonguss. So when Tornadus comes back in here, you're kind of forced into a situation where you really have to pick the correct target, because if the Amoonguss goes for a Spore and the Urshifu protects from the Hurricane, then the Tornadus just goes to sleep for free, and then Urshifu actually can win this endgame. Then if you see the Hurricane go into the Amoonguss, and the Amoonguss protects and a Wicked Blow goes into Tornadus, then it can just Sucker Punch it next turn and Spore again. So it's actually a really difficult situation here, I think. um, to deal with in terms of both Jesus and Victor's ends, because it is a bit of a mind game here.
100%. And with the Shinja being asleep, definitely not helping with no way to be breaking the sash on the Urshifu, at least for this turn. So won't be able to at least take it down with a Shadow Sneak and Hurricane. So definitely a tricky little spot.
Yeah, would it be able to wake up this turn? Because I believe it was put to sleep 2 turns ago, correct?
Is it 2 turn?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure it was 2 turns ago. So if it's able to wake up and go for a Shadow Sneak and a Hurricane into the Urshifu, it could win the game. Yeah, because we actually saw, remember the Shedinja last turn attempted the ally switch? So it wasn't able to get it. So we are going to see the Amoonguss protect here. If a Hurricane and a Shadow Sneak goes off in the Urshifu, the chances, but...
Taking another turn of sleep. You said that Shedinja deserved its rest, and it took those words to heart. This
Hurricane
just
land?
hanging on.
Hurricane doesn't.
Hurricane attacking into the Amoonguss slot. So definitely a tough, wicked blow there for Victor.
Yeah, I mean, we're really going to see it fall out of Victor's hands now. I mean, to be fair, ally switch is still an option here, and that can actually seriously change the way the game goes, which is really funny because you kind of assume that a Victor would be like not in the best position. But you really have to make sure that this Urshifu is chipped for the Regieleki in the back. And we're going to see the Shedinja take a 3rd turn of sleep here. No love for Shedinja here. I shouldn't have told it to take a nap. Maybe should have said, okay, maybe you should kick yourself in the gear a little bit faster. But we're going to see Hurricane, though. It's actually going to remove the Amoonguss here. So there is maybe a way to come back. There maybe is a way to come back with this Regieleki, but I still think it's too weak to the Urshifu.
Yeah, it'll all be down to what the Regieleki do. And we've seen Regieleki do fantastic things before in the past. So, be interesting. Of course, that focus sash on the Shedinja makes it so it can stick around. Being away for one more turn here. So this Urshifu does have to try and take down both of these targets.
I actually think this is a guaranteed win for Victor because you're unless I'm mistaken on my sleep turns, I believe you're guaranteed to wake up here on the Shedinja, which means with a Shadow Sneak and a Thunderbolt here, you basically do pressure the KO immediately in the Urshifu. The Urshifu's either forced to Sucker Punch your Shedinja or go for a Wicked Blow, and either of those still puts you in a really bad position. So I'd kind of almost be surprised if this wasn't a win for Victor unless I counted the sleep turns wrong. But this is a very, very difficult situation for Jesus. We're going to see the Sucker Punch go into Shedinja here, removing it.
All right, Shedinja is gone. All the work that I put in earlier, finally being put to rest. Regieleki, though, does get the opportunity to fire off a huge attack here. Urshifu hanging on from its own sash, of course, and it's just the 1v1 here.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, too, yeah, it's very difficult for this Urshifu here. You have to try and get a Sucker Punch crit here. Wow, that actually did like a good chunk of damage, honestly, but not enough. Aleki just able to pick up the KO here.
Yeah, a good chunk of damage is not going to cut it as Victor takes the match. I mean, the amount of work that Shedinja was able to put in, despite being asleep for half the match, was really awesome. And those ally switch turns were so big and just putting Victor in a spot where he could really capitalize, and Shedinja just taking those hits, Wonder Guard making it so nothing happened, and allowing the partner Pokemon to just take advantage of the match and put him in the favorable winning position.
See, what I think was really cool about this matchup is seeing Shed moving on the finals, because now we get to see a Shedinja in the finals actually do some work. I mean, Shedinja's a really cool Pokemon. It's actually like such a interesting member on this team, because Kyogre teams are typically weak to stuff like Regieleki, weak to stuff like grass moves, and you just have a perfect pivot into all of those moves. And it's running ally switch, which is even more disruptive. Like, Kyogre didn't even come in this matchup. The restricted was Shedinja, So.
It felt like it, considering it seemed off limits for most of the match, and nothing able to touch it. And just showing how strong the rest of the Pokemon are on the team as well. Obviously, in a restricted format, these Pokemon are big and bad and scary. And like Victor here, able to just leave the restricted at home and still be able to pull out this win. So congratulations to him for moving on to the finals.
Yeah, absolutely. So we will be cutting to a short break and then moving on to our next match. So definitely be excited for that. We might come back to talk a little bit more about the tournament later on. We are looking to figure out how we're going to be broadcasting the next match. Luckily, Victor, obviously, unfortunately for Jesus, did have a capture card, and he will have a capture card for us in the finals. But we need to figure out the other top 4 match. So we will be getting back to you guys as soon as possible. Thank you again to G Fuel for sponsoring the stream as well. Super appreciate it. Want to make sure, definitely check out G Fuel, !G Fuel in the chat. And yes, we will be back shortly, and we will be updating you guys soon.